Howdy folks. Today we're going to talk about raspberry syrup and some drinks you can make with it. So I've made raspberry syrup on this channel before, and I will leave some links down in the description to the how-to and some other drinks that you can make with it. Raspberry syrup is pretty simple. For mine, I just took about a pint of raspberries that I got from the garden, put them in a pot with about a quarter cup of sugar. Raspberries are sweet on their own. They don't need a ton of extra sugar. And then you just gently heat it until the raspberries will sort of turn to a liquid with just a little bit of heat and some sugar. Dissolve the sugar, let it cool, strain it out, and you're good to go. Now, there are not a ton of like classic drinks that use raspberry syrup. There's the Clover Club, which is like one of the best drinks ever. There's the Knickerbocker, the Blinker, maybe a couple others. I'll put links to those that I've already made videos on in the description, like I said. When I have an ingredient that I'm trying to find another drink to use it in, I like to go to a website called Cocktail Virgin. If you've watched this channel at all, you've probably heard me talk about this website before, but it's run by a Boston bartender named Frederick Yarm, and he puts up a cocktail every day, pretty much. He has been doing it for about 20 years now, and so there is just a ton of drinks on there. You can search it by ingredient or name or all sorts of other things. There's just so many there. There's so many options. Like, you can definitely find something to do with this mystery ingredient. Maybe a bottle that you've bought and don't know what to do with, or in this case, a fruit syrup. So I searched and I found a drink. It's called the Prince Henry Punch, and it's by an LA bartender named Pablo Moix. I don't know how to pronounce his name. M-O-I-X. Anyway, it's on the Punch Drinks website. It was where Frederick found it, and I'll leave a link to that as well. Okay, so the drink is going to be 3/4 of an ounce of Rhum Agricole. If you're not familiar with Rhum Agricole, it's basically a rum from Martinique. And what they do there is, instead of using molasses to make the rum, they just squeeze the cane juice. So they'll crush it up and squeeze it, and juice comes out. And they'll use that juice to make the rum instead of using the molasses, which is like a byproduct of processing sugar. For this, I'm using Clement. It's one of the bigger producers of Rhum Agricole. Agricole is, if you're not familiar, like it's a little bit of a challenging spirit. It's very raw. It really tastes like that cane. It's got kind of a grassy, tropical fruit kind of a thing. It's maybe not for everyone. It's got a real aggressive taste. It's not something that like every home bar has to have. If you're into rum, it's a great thing to have around and to explore. It doesn't get called for a lot in classic drinks. It does get called for more often these days in some modern drinks. But yeah, I really enjoy it. The drink also has 3/4 of an ounce of aged rum. I'm going to use this Hamden 8-year. You could also use like an Appleton Estate, or just really anything with a little bit of age on it. 3/4 of an ounce of lime. And then this is where it gets interesting. A 1/2 ounce of Greeen Chartreuse. If you look through Cocktail Virgin or other raspberry syrup drinks, most of them use orange liqueur or grapefruit or both as the sort of adjunct ingredients. But this one with Greeen Chartreuse sounded really interesting to me. It has a 1/2 ounce of our raspberry syrup and then 6 dashes of Angostura bitters. Now, that's a lot of bitters for one drink typically, but I think it's just trying to sort of compete with that chartreuse is probably what's going on. It gets a mint garnish and a pearl ice. I decided to use those little tiny ice cubes I got from that weird ice tray that I got from the thrift store. So let's shake it up. garnish is amazing. Whoa. It is. Wow. It is a lot going on. It is packed with flavor. Wow, it really blends together really nicely. You're not getting a ton of different angles. It all kind of comes at you at once, which is kind of interesting. You do get sort of an initial hit of mint on the nose, followed by the sort of Rhum Agricole kind of punchiness, and then it moves into the chartreuse kind of herbal zone, and then sort of finishes off with sort of that Angostura clove bitterness. That's really, I mean, it's basically a tiki drink. It's like a modern kind of tiki drink. And a lot of tiki drinks are basically daiquiri variations. And that's what this is. Rum and lime and sugar, and you know, with a little something extra. And the something extra in this case, chartreuse, really gives it a lot of complexity. Let's give it another try. Wow. Yeah, I think I learned this lesson the last time I made raspberry syrup, but the raspberry syrup I'm making isn't overly sweet, which is great when you're putting on your pancakes, but it's, maybe you should put a little extra in a drink because this is maybe a little bit too dry. But you should make raspberry syrup. It's so super easy. There's some really good drinks, including the Clover Club, that you can make. And let me know down in the comments if you do it and how it goes for you. Thanks for liking and subscribing. We'll see you next time.